answered him too never a word, insomuch that the governor marveled greatly. Mark, but Jesus yet answered nothing, so that Pilate marveled. That I think I like a bit better. But Jesus answered nothing. Or, and he answered. I'm going to go with but from Mark because, again, this is still contrary to what you would expect if he's having so many accusations lobbed against him. He should say something to say that's not true, but he doesn't. So, but he answered nothing. Jesus is named here in Mark, so I'm going to go with that as well. Yet answered nothing. Answered is both. Oh wait, yet is first. Nothing or never a word. I think never a word is a bit stronger language than just nothing, because nothing was already mentioned when he first refused to answer. So never a word, I think it's a fresh take on what's happening, but I don't want to go with two never a word. That doesn't make any sense. Maybe if I put answered him yet never a word, yet from Mark. Yet answered. Or I could put Jesus yet answered never a word. I'm going to put yet in the place of two. Matthew, insomuch that the governor, Mark, so that Pilate marveled. You know what? The word so is part of insomuch. Insomuch. That is both. The governor marveled. Mark has him named Pilate marveled. I'm going to have Pilate the governor. Marveled greatly. Mark just has marveled. And before I get into Barabbas, which is the very next verse in Matthew, and the very next verse in Mark, I have to go back to Luke and get into him going to Herod. Because after he goes to Herod and comes back in Luke is when Barabbas is offered as a secondary released prisoner. So this story must be inserted right here from Luke. And they were the more fierce, saying, He stirs up the people, teaching throughout all Jewry, beginning from Galilee to this place. When Pilate heard of Galilee, he asked whether the man were a Galilean. Alright, I want to mention that I was thinking of combining this with the statement from John in chapter 19, and says to Jesus, "From where are you?" But Jesus gave him no answer. Then Pilate says to him, "Speak you not to me? Know you not that I have the power to crucify you and have power to release you?" And then Jesus says, "You could have no power at all against me except it were given you from above. Therefore he that delivered me to you has the greater sin." And from then on Pilate sought to release him. It does seem like it would fit here because it says, Pilate went to him and says, "From where are you?" Right? The issue of where he's from, Galilee, is being brought up right now. But the reason why this doesn't fit is because he's asking Jesus here in John where he's from after he heard them say, he ought to die because he made himself the Son of God. That's when Pilate was the more afraid and said, from where are you? It's no longer a question here in John of his location here on earth. He wanted to hear Jesus say, yes, I'm God, I'm from heaven. That's a totally different question and a different context. And also it comes after the mention of Barabbas at the end of chapter 18. And chapter 19 is when he's scourged and crowned, and they put the robe on him. I bring him forth to you, I find no fault in him. And this is all after he goes to Herod, as recorded in Luke. He goes to Herod, then comes back to Pilate, and that's when he gets scourged and robed. And then this question arises. So I'm pretty sure this is a different context, a different time from this first question he asks if he was a Galilean. So I'm not going to add in here the statements from John. I'm just going to continue with Luke. And as soon as he knew that he belonged to Herod's jurisdiction, he sent him to Herod. He was exceeding glad, hoped to have seen some miracle, but he answered him nothing. Set him at nothing, and mocked him, and arrayed him in a gorgeous robe. I also was thinking of combining this with the mention of him being robed in John and Matthew and Mark, but Matthew and Mark have this as part of his scourging and the throne of crowns being put on his head. They scourged Jesus and delivered him to be crucified. Soldiers and the governors took Jesus into the common hall, gathered him and the whole band of soldiers. They stripped him, put on him a scarlet robe. So that's clearly after Barabbas is released. Which, again, is mentioned in Luke after he comes back to Pilate. So there must be two times he had a robe put on him. Once by Herod, and then again by the soldiers in Pilate's command. Which actually makes sense, because if Herod really wanted to mock him, he would just put the robe on. It doesn't say that he put a crown of thorns or any other kind of beatings, but just this one thing, put on the gorgeous robe. And then the soldiers that were under Pilate's rule took it to a whole new level. They put on him a scarlet robe as well, and the crown of thorns, because, oh, you're a king? Okay, well, we'll not only give you this robe, we'll give you a crown, and they scourged and whipped and mocked and spit on him again. So it makes sense that Herod would start with the one robe, and then Pilate's soldiers would take it further with another robe and a crown. So I'll keep it separate as two different occasions. So he sent him back to Pilate. The same day, Pilate and Herod were made friends together. For before